Hi people, welcome back to my Walking Dead Wednesdays video. Today's video is going to be about episode 5 of The Walking Dead season 7, Go Getters, where we primarily spent our time at the hilltop with Maggie and Sasha and Jesus. So we finally find out what actually was wrong with Maggie in the first place, which meant they all had to go to the hilltop. I can't remember what the doctor said, but it was something to do with the placenta coming away from something. That's what I got from that. Obviously, it looks like she's okay now in terms of that, but the doctor has recommended that she stay at the hilltop for the duration of her pregnancy, just in case anything else happens. She's not having to travel all the way back from Alexandria. She's just there, and the doctor can see to her whenever he needs to. So Glenn and Abraham have been buried at the hilltop. I don't know how I feel about this in terms of, because it's not really established that like Maggie is going to like live for the rest of her time at the hilltop. Spoiler, in the comics she does go to live at the hilltop and she does remain there for the rest of from like this point in the show up until where we are in the comics. That is her home, and I think it's been a while since I've read the comics, but I think Glenn is buried there as well, which I think is fitting because Maggie now lives there and that's now their home and the home of their son as well. But because it's not exactly established in Hilltop, because it's not actually sort of mentioned in the show, and it's only like the doctor who recommends that she stays there throughout her pregnancy. Maggie still wants to go back to Alexandria. I don't know exactly how I feel about Glenn and Abraham being buried at the hilltop because it's not their home. I mean, Abraham especially, that's not their home, and I feel like they should have been buried at Alexandria. But if it happens and Maggie and Sasha both decide to stay at the hilltop and make that their home, then I will be glad that they were buried there. So Gregory, yeah, you guys know how much I hate Dwight, but Gregory he's definitely championing for that #1 on my hate list. He is really, I really don't like him. And I'm sure a lot of you agree with that. I mean, I think with Dwight, a lot of people kind of say that, you know, Negan's keeping him a prisoner as much as everybody else. But with Gregory, it's a whole different thing. He is the leader, as he says, but he doesn't do a very good job leading. I mean, Jesus himself says in the episode that he wouldn't be a good leader, even though Sasha kind of encourages it. And maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he's good at doing what he does for the hilltop, and maybe he wouldn't be a very good leader. But I feel like anybody could do a better job than Gregory is doing. And he's just being an absolute arsehole, as per usual, to Maggie. Keeps calling her Marsha, not calling her by the right name. And he's that much of a great leader that he doesn't even know who his own people are, because he thinks that Sasha is a member of the hilltop. He doesn't even realise that she's from Alexandria because he's never seen her before with the Alexandrian group. But he thinks, he doesn't even know who his own people are, and that is not a good sign for a leader. I mean, we don't know exactly if Rick knows everybody in Alexandria, and even if Negan knows everybody of the Saviors, and I doubt he does because he has so many, but actually seeing that from Gregory, knowing that he doesn't actually know who his own people are, well, that's stupid, because a Saviour could get in and he could think that that's someone who's been there all along. So there's an attack on the hilltop at night time, and I don't know how that happened, because during the day at least we know that there are guards on patrol, because when Rick's group first got to the hilltop there were guards up there and Jesus had to coax them into opening the gates and letting them in. But it looked like there was nobody on guard at night, and that is very, very stupid, because things like what happened with the walkers coming in, that's what will happen to you if you don't have guards on patrol. So I think it's very stupid that they didn't have anybody out there. And look at that. If it wasn't for Maggie and Sasha, who knows how that attack would have gone. In fact, no, that attack would have gone disastrously for the Hilltop. And where was Gregory in that whole scenario? He was standing at the window, saw what happened, backed away. Didn't help, didn't go out, didn't do anything. That's not a sign of a good leader. Rick, when in No Way Out, when there were thousands upon thousands of zombies covering the whole of Alexandria, even though Cole's eye had just been shot out, Rick was the first person out that door killing those zombies. So that's the mark of a good leader. Gregory is like the least, the very last person you'd want as a leader. To be honest, you'd probably want Negan as a leader more than him, because at least he does something and at least he gets things done and removes the threat. So when Simon decides to pay his little visit to the Hilltop, Gregory tells Maggie and Sasha, or he tells Jesus, to hide Maggie and Sasha in the closet. And Simon comes in and he's never been there before, so he's having a look around the place. He can obviously see that Gregory is the leader, so he has a talk with him in his office, and he's being all... He's not as bad as Dwight in the stuff that he says, but he's not as funny and charming as Negan, so he is kind of in the middle. I mean, he is Negan's right-hand man, so he is number 2 out of those 3 people. Gregory is not a very good liar. I wouldn't want to put it down to the guy's acting, Xander Berkeley's acting, because I think he's really good as Gregory, because he makes me hate him so much. But I think it's that Gregory is not a very good liar, because he's his face, at least in the scenes with Simon, very open book. I don't know if it's because he's scared, so he's not very good at the lying because he's under pressure, but it's clearly evident that he's like hiding things, and you know, when he says that he knows something, he doesn't, or when he says that he doesn't know something, he clearly does, because you can see it written all over his face. So Simon's like, have you got anything else to tell me? And he's like, yes. And then they go over to walk towards the closet, and you're like, well, I mean, is it surprising? No, it's not surprising, because Gregory giving up Maggie and Sasha is... Gregory will be thinking, if I give them up, that means that the Saviors will trust me more, because I'm being a leader and I'm, you know, handing them what they want. So, you know, maybe the Alexandrians will never trust me again, but clearly the bigger threat here are the Saviors, so as long as the Saviors are on my side, then that's okay. But sneaky Jesus didn't hide Maggie and Sasha in that particular closet. What is hidden in that particular closet is Gregory's stash of alcohol, which, unsurprisingly, the Saviors take for themselves. And then Gregory has a whole flipping rant at Jesus about hiding Maggie and Sasha in the wrong closet. Well, you were just about to give them up, mate. Like, that, no, you don't do that. And then Maggie does what she, spoiler, did to Rick in the comics, because she kind of blamed Rick for Glenn's death, so she punches him, and that's what I thought was going to happen in episode 1. But luckily, and I'm very glad she hit this person, because it was totally the right person to hit, she goes and delivers a knockout punch to Gregory. And then she moves forward and goes to grab something. She grabs Glenn's watch. She earlier put this on Glenn's grave at the Hilltop, and Gregory stole it. I mean, could you get any more low? He mentioned something about like, oh, it's a good watch, it shouldn't be like left out in the rain. No, that's not your call. That's not your decision. That is Glenn and Maggie and Herschel's watch, and she can do with it what she likes, because that's her possession, not yours. So I'm really glad that she gave him a right good punch to the face. So we kind of moved around a bit in this episode. I mean, we were pretty much at the hilltop for the majority of the show, but at the beginning we were at Alexandria, and then throughout the episode we kept jumping to Enid and Carl, who were on the road to the hilltop, because Enid was the one who she was the one giving Maggie the haircut when Maggie started getting the pain, so she was there at that moment. And Maggie and definitely Glenn have always been really kind and welcoming of Enid, always getting her help and making her feel welcome and making her feel like part of the community. So naturally Enid wanted to see if Maggie was okay. And at first Carl was like, I'm not saving you anymore, I'm not coming with you. It's a long way to the hilltop if you're going to walk it, but I'm not coming to save you. But then he obviously has a change of heart and decides to take one of the cars from Alexandria and drive it. He managed to crash the car after taking a zombie out. But yeah, the car was pretty much done for once he crashed it, so he decided to walk to the hilltop with Enid, although they didn't walk all the way, because as they were walking along the road, Carl found a bag with roller skates in, and I don't know why, but I just absolutely loved that. I thought that was so cute. What was also really cute is when they started roller skating away, Carl nearly lost his balance and fell on his arse, but when Enid went to catch him and save him, she grabbed his hand, and then they sort of started holding hands in a sweet coupley way. And then when they got to the hilltop, Enid realised, because the saviours were still there, this was when they were packing everything away and getting ready to go home, Enid realised that Carl hadn't come to the hilltop to see Maggie in particular. The whole reason that he'd come to the hilltop was because he wanted to kill Negan, and this was a way to do it, by sneaking into one of the trucks and going off to the Saviour's house, the Saviour's compound, and getting Negan. And then Enid and Carl kissed, and it was very, very sweet. And again, another spoiler, in the comics, Sophia is still alive at this point, and her and Carl have obviously grown up in the zombie apocalypse, and they're the ones who are a couple at this point in the comics. So yeah, I saw it coming. I thought naturally it's gonna be with Enid and Carl in the TV show, even if there's nothing. I mean, the fact that they had the kiss was very sort of in your face, but I thought even without the kiss, it's not necessarily needed, and we can kind of see that that's what their relationship is. It's definitely not just platonic friendship or just friends helping each other out every once in a while. It was definitely more than that, but the kiss kind of confirmed that for everybody, that it was more than that. So Sasha and Maggie have decided to stay at the hilltop, even though Gregory keeps saying, get out, go back to Alexandria. They're not having any of it, because Sasha is adamant that Maggie is going to stay, because the doctor has said that she needs to stay during her pregnancy, and Sasha is not having Maggie putting herself at risk, because they don't really have they don't have any doctor at all at Alexandria anymore, so this is the place where she needs to be. And Sasha asks Jesus if he can find where Negan lives, if he can sneak into the back of the truck and basically go and find where Negan lives. And I mean, props to Jesus for saying, yeah, I'll do it. I don't know if I would particularly suggest for somebody to do that, because you could be kind of putting them up for death. Like, if Jesus gets caught, who knows what's going to happen to him? And, Sasha asking him to do that is basically her asking him, will you die for us? Will you go to Negan's, find out where he lives, but risk your life in doing so? And I don't know if I would personally want to put that on anybody, or at least have, because if that person gets killed, then, you know, just like Daryl, I would be feeling an immense amount of guilt, because it would be like, it would be my fault. I'm the one who suggested that they go to that place. If they hadn't, they would still be alive right now. And then at the end of the episode, there's a really, I thought it was quite funny moment when Jesus runs along, jumps into the back of the truck, has a little swig of the alcohol that they stole, and then pours the rest of it away. And then Cole just pops up from behind one of the boxes and is like, hello, nice to meet you again, Jesus. Obviously he doesn't say that, but you know, that's kind of what it looked like. He just like pops out of the box like, hello. So let me know what you thought of this episode. I thought it was quite a light-hearted episode. There was some like tense moments. There was an attack scene in the middle of the night at the hilltop, but overall I thought it was quite a nice episode with some really sweet and funny moments. Probably not going to get that next episode, so let me know what you thought about the episode, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!